Hello everybody. So we are going to be starting on our 1-point perspective train depot. So make sure that you have a 12 by 18 piece of paper, a ruler, a pencil, and you definitely will need an eraser today. So these are the things that you need. And I am ready to get going. This is a lot of work. This is worth 30 points, so I need you to make sure that you get this done, turn it in to Google Classroom, and I am going to work step by step with you creating this train depot. So please make sure that you pause where you need to pause. If you need any help, please don't hesitate to contact me and I will help you where I can. Okay? First things first, let's go ahead and fold our paper in half to create our horizon line. This is our horizon line this time. On our final, we will not be folding our paper in half. We will be drawing our horizon line. But for right now, we are also going to start in the middle, so add your vanishing point so we can begin. With your ruler, we are going to add train tracks. So bring out how wide do you want your train tracks. They're going to disappear to the vanishing point. So for right now, these are actually orthogonal lines. We are also going to double them to represent the actual track that the train would go on. So don't make them too wide. I would say about 1/4 of an inch wide to 1/2 of an inch wide, but don't make them so wide that it looks kind of strange for train tracks. Now we need to put in the railroad ties. So I would say we're just going to, since this is practice, put in maybe like 4 or 5. It's really up to you. These technically go underneath, so I'm going to skip the rail. So I'm drawing one tie there, but you can always just draw straight across and erase it. I'm going to skip a big space and draw another one. It's going to get closer together the further back you go. So these would not remain this width. It's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And it's going to start looking closer and closer and closer together. I'm going to draw one more way back here. So that's 4, they're horizontal, and I doubled it, and it looks like it's getting closer together. Now, how do I know how wide to make my railroad ties? Easy, you just line your ruler up with the vanishing point and connect them. So I'm gonna make them stick out about that far. I'm gonna connect these 2 lines, these 2 lines, these 2 lines, and these 2 lines. That's how wide you make your ties, and then you erase the leftover. I have to draw dark because I need you to see this. You can draw lightly so that you can erase easier. And do the other side. Line it up, line your ruler up with the vanishing point. Make about the same amount of space here as you have here, and then you can connect them. Connect the ties, connect the ties. Then you can erase your leftover. Now I could just leave it here, but I like to make sure that these look at least a little 3-dimensional. So in order to do that, on the edges, I am going to draw a vertical line straight up and down, and then connect the 2 with a horizontal line. skip the track. Just like that. Now they look three-dimensional. Now we know that railroad ties are much thicker than that, but they also go into the gravel, right where the train tracks are. So we're just going to draw them this deep. Vertical lines on the sides, connect them with a horizontal. Vertical lines, connect them with a horizontal. All the way up. Okay, there's our start. Off to the right, I am going to draw my train depot. So what I would need you to do is space it out. Don't make it too big, don't make it too small, but we're going to make a giant rectangle. Leave space towards the top. So you probably want about half of it above your horizon, half below. And we're just making a rectangle. This is the front of our train depot. So oops, half of it's above, half of it's below. You have a little space in between. We're going to make a platform here. We need to turn this box into a three-dimensional little house or depot. So I'm going to start with the top left corner to my vanishing point and the bottom left corner to my vanishing point. How long do you want the building? I'm going to make the building about this long. Don't forget to line it up with your vertical line because we know that verticals stay vertical. And then erase your leftover. Just to keep it clean. There's going to be a lot of lines coming out of this. I'm pressing pretty hard so mine doesn't erase very well, but if you are pressing lightly, then it should erase fine. Now we're going to add a roof to this, and the best way to add a roof is to find the center of the front. So I am going to make an X. An X is how you find the center. So I'm going to lightly draw an X here, here. Here's the center of the front of the depot. I'm going to go vertical. How tall do you want your roof? I want mine about this tall. That is where you would make the roof line. If you were making a roof on the side, you would draw an X, go straight up, and connect it that way. So we're going to connect the edges with the center of the roof. Now you're going to connect this point of the roof to the vanishing point. There's your roof line. Now, here's the trick. How do we know how it comes up back here? How do we know the roof line? A cheat would be to line it up here and draw a parallel line here. That is a cheat. This is parallel with this. There is also another way to find the roof point back here, but I kind of like to give you the cheat. Don't tell. The real way is to find the transparent box. If you just want to watch for a second, I would find the box, draw, let's just see how I did the transparent box. attach it. Get the X, come straight up, and that's where your roof line would attach to there. But it looks like the cheat worked, so I think you should just tilt your ruler with this line, keep a steady hand, slide it down, and there's your back roof line, okay? Now I have all these boxes. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and draw the front of the, let me erase this stuff so you can kind of see what I'm doing. We actually will need that later, that little roof line, the ceiling line inside, but we're going to draw the front of the depot. Get rid of all these lines. Pretty well anyway. Okay, I want you to draw a floating door because I'm going to show you how to draw two different kinds of staircases. Staircases get to be a little tricky. The first thing you have to remember with a staircase is you have to draw a floating door. If you don't draw a floating door, we don't need a staircase because it's on the ground. So, to draw a staircase, you're going to draw a floating door. I would probably come in later and add the little details. The details are the fun part for me. I like adding the little details. Here's my floating door. Here is how you draw steps. Step one, I'm gonna do this with a colored pen. Step one is to take the line that's on the outside edge of your door and connect it to the bottom of the depot. Like that. Step two, connect this point with the vanishing point continuing out. So we have to build a ramp. To build a ramp, we're going to start by lining up the vanishing point to the bottom of the first line that we just drew, but it continues off. We're going to do the same thing to the bottom of the other side. Now we have to connect this open part. A lot of people want to connect it right here like this at a slant, but that is not at all how it goes. You actually need to connect it with a horizontal line. So line your ruler up with the horizontal line of your building, slide it down, and then connect it with a horizontal line there. Now we can build our ramp, and all I'm going to do is connect this bottom edge of the door with this left bottom edge of the ramp. Connect it. Doing the same thing to the other side. Bottom edge of the door with the corner. Connect it. Let me get a different color so you can see what I'm doing. Now, we're gonna start in this bottom left corner. Here's how this goes. We're gonna go vertical, just a little bit, to the vanishing point. From the ramp, then we go vertical to the vanishing point. Vertical to the vanishing point. So we're actually working our way up. So with this bottom corner, I'm gonna start with my ruler vertical. I'm just gonna draw just a little ways up, and then connect from where you left off, connect it to the vanishing point, but stop at your ramp. So that is an orthogonal line. Now I'm gonna go vertical again. Vertical just a little bit. I'm gonna connect it to my vanishing point, my ruler, but I'm stopping at the ramp. Do you see that it stops at the ramp? It actually goes to my vanishing point. Vertical to my vanishing point. And I think I'm gonna stop there. I could go vertical and to my vanishing point, but this will be a fine step there. So you should have gone vertical, orthogonal, vertical, orthogonal, vertical, orthogonal. Or that's vertical to the VP, vertical to the vanishing point, vertical to the VP. Okay. So now we're gonna make horizontal lines. A lot of people forget the inside horizontal line where it touches the ramp, but don't forget that. So at every little zigzag, we have to make a horizontal line. So I'm gonna line my ruler up, slide it up. You're gonna make a horizontal line, but you're going past the ramp this time. I went past the ramp. Now you slide it to the next zigzag mark, which should be touching the ramp. Horizontal line past the ramp. Then you go to the next line up, which is like a step up past the ramp. And then the inside zigzag line past the ramp. So these are just horizontal. Another horizontal line at that point past the ramp, and one more past the ramp. So you can pretty much see how it looks like it's building a staircase. So this is horizontal and they're all going past the ramp. You did all the hard work over here on this side, so all you have to do now is connect this bottom dot vertical, then to the ramp where that next line attaches to the ramp. Vertical, you could use your ruler, I'm just kind of trying to show you, to that next line, then the next line intersects with your ramp, so you attach it. Go towards the ramp. Then vertical to the ramp where the next line meets it. And we just built a staircase. Beautiful. You can erase all of these extra lines. So I would erase all of these. The ramp, erase your little lines over here. So it just looks like a staircase. Okay. For doors and windows and everything else, I want you to be detailed. And so I'm actually going to have you draw the little details on these things. So if I was going to add the little details here, I may come out a little, add the framing of this. Maybe I'd add the frame on the inside, you know, connect it all and make it look three-dimensional, okay? So just so you know, I would spend time doing that. Let's add a window up here, and then we'll add the details to the inside of the window so you can see it better. I'm just gonna make a rectangle. Like this will be a long rectangular window. I'm gonna make the inside of the window. Since I can see the right front of the building, then all of my details would be on the right side because I can't see this left side. So I'm gonna draw that was orthogonal. This is the depth of my window, and this will be the depth of my window here. So there you can see the inside of my depot. Which technically, since I drew this top right corner, that shows you where your ceiling is inside. So if you line your ruler up to this top right corner of the the first rectangle that you drew for the building, line it up with the vanishing point, and on the inside of your window, if you just draw that little tiny section of the orthogonal line from here to here, that's your ceiling of the depot. This is the wall. So this is the wall, this is the ceiling here, okay? So you can have some fun. You can put crown molding in there. You could put a part of a artwork in there if you want, whatever you want to do. Now we're going to draw the ramp, and then we have buildings over to the side and the background, and we're about done. So really, I think this set of stairs was the hardest part. So let's keep on going. Over here on this side, we are going to draw a ramp, so we need to first start with a sliding glass door or something where the people can walk out and get on the train. So remember, in order to draw a ramp or something floating, we need our door bottom to be floating. So find a place where you think you want, I think a good height would be where my staircase is. So actually, if I were to draw this straight over to the side, this is where I'm going to start my ramp, which means that's also where I'm going to start the bottom of my door. That's orthogonal. So all I did was find the bottom of my door, make it, draw it straight across, and that is where I'm going to start my ramp. So it will also be, and it's not a ramp, it's a platform. I should stop calling it a ramp. So we're going to take this line here, our platform line, and we're going to create a door so that the people can walk out of and go stand on the platform and wait for the train. So I'm just going to make a door by going vertical, orthogonal, vertical. Here's my door. I'm going to connect it in the middle. To get the middle, I have to draw an X. And I'm drawing a light X just so I can just find the middle. There's my middle. It's kind of skewed because it's going back in perspective, which is why we always draw an X. Okay, so we could add little door handles if we want. Those would be in perspective, so I would just draw a line and a line. You can also see that this would be a straight line to make the details. I would draw a straight line at the top, and then that gets connected with the vanishing point line, so it's orthogonal. So that's the detail of the inside. Technically that's straight, and that goes here. Okay. Let's build that ramp. Are we ready? Here is the top of the ramp, not a ramp, it's a platform. From here, I'm just making a box. It lines up with the bottom of my door. On the corner of the house, I'm gonna come straight out. Don't touch your tracks, but go almost to the tracks. I'm going to go the same thing with the bottom of my house, the bottom, straight out. And wherever I can make a vertical line, because verticals stay vertical, that's where I'm connecting it. So there's the edge of my platform. So I can erase this. From this top of the rectangle right here, I'm going to draw that back to the vanishing point. Erase the back of my depot. I'm also going to, so this is horizontal, I now need to meet it back here horizontal. So at the back corner, the same line as your door, not the original corner, I am going to connect it horizontal. So you can already kind of see your platform forming. I'm going to darken this up for you. See it? Now I need this line on the front rectangle right at the bottom. You're going to lightly draw orthogonal line. That way I can make my box in the back. So I'm connecting a line here. Here it looks like a box going back. Now you know why we just made boxes right before this. But this is a platform. It's kind of like a little deck off of the side of the depot. So we're gonna make it look more like a deck. I'm gonna thicken this top part up and turn it into little wooden pieces, like a wooden deck off of the side. So I just doubled the top line. That's the thickness of the top of the boards. And I am going to double that line. I am going to create boards that come all the way across and down. So I would say mark every ½ inch, every ¼ inch, whatever you feel like. That's where your boards will go. So you need to draw each of these markings to the vanishing point. So I just evenly spaced them out. So I'm going to, that's lined up with the vanishing point. That's lined up with the vanishing point. Do you see that they all go back to the vanishing point? That one's lined up. So each one you're lining up to the vanishing point. So it's going to get a little awkward for you. There they are. Now I can just connect them with vertical lines. My verticals stay vertical. Connect them to that board. So see, that looks like at the top of a deck. These tiny little lines cannot hold this deck up. We need to make them look like boards, three-dimensional boards. So we already have the front line. A board has to wrap this direction and this direction. So I'm going to keep this part of the bottom line and just connect it with a vertical, and on the other side I'm going to connect it with a vertical and keep that part of that orthogonal line. I'm doing the same thing over here. This is where part of my board is. Skip a little space, connect it. If you want to be very particular, this little tiny goes to the orthogonal line. And then it connects. That's just so you can see depth. I like showing the dimension. And it's going to do the same thing back here. That vertical line we're going to keep, but we go horizontal and vertical. Okay. I just wanted to let you know too, if on your house or building you wanted a chimney, you don't have to do this right now, but the chimney front would go with your roof line. So if I'm at an angle here, my roof line, it's orthogonal, and then you would just go vertical with the chimney and vertical. And then this would be horizontal, where you connect it. Okay. Just to show you. You don't have to do this, but in case, horizontal. If it were a long one. Okay. We are going to move to the other side. This side to me is much easier. So let's go ahead and get started, and you have done the hard part. This side won't take very long. If you need to take a break now. This is usually 3 days worth that you're doing. So it's a lot of work. Come out with an orthogonal line. We're gonna draw a street corner. And then come across. Pick a space where you want, like this could be a street, an intersection. Here's the curve. From the point where it turns, you're gonna pick a vertical line. We're gonna show the depth of the curve. So a vertical line, straight up. Connect it to the vanishing point, and then go straight across. I'll show you how to make a turn in the road in a minute. Now we are going to make our buildings. So we're gonna start with our first building. Let's go ahead and let it start. I'm gonna skip a little space so that our sidewalk, we have a sidewalk, but I'm not gonna go all the way to the corner with it. I'll go almost to the corner. And I'm kind of going off the page. So I'm gonna make horizontal, vertical, don't go all the way up, horizontal. This building goes off the page. I am gonna connect the bottom right corner and the top right corner to my vanishing point. Now, from here, line up your ruler, slide it down. How long do you want your building? I'm gonna just make it that long. There's your first building. I can erase. We can do a couple of things here. We can continue off like a strip mall and have another building and another building. Maybe this one's taller. So, or we can have a building like where this would be a sidewalk. You could walk down the sidewalk and turn in an alley right there. It's really kind of up to you. If you want to, let's go ahead and make this an alleyway, like you can go down this alley. So we're going to skip a little space, and we're gonna make a horizontal line. I like to line my ruler up. Horizontal line, but attach it to the orthogonal line you just drew. So all I did was skip a space, and that is where our horizontal line will go. So I'm a little bit of a ways up this wall, and I just went straight out horizontally. Now I'm gonna go vertical. This is a tall building. I'm gonna go horizontal. Maybe it ends right about there. And a vertical. So there's the side of our building. Now I'm going to connect this side to the vanishing point and this side of the building to the vanishing point. Otherwise, it's not three-dimensional. But you have to show me where the building ends, so draw a vertical line. That's where that building ends. Notice now we have a space or a road or a sidewalk. Here's how to draw a little sidewalk in between. So the sidewalk technically would have a little bit of space between the corner of the building and the little alley. So I'm gonna put a little dot there to know that's where I want my sidewalk to go. I am going to draw a horizontal line right there. And I'm actually gonna end my sidewalk right there and draw a vertical line where it ends. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to give it a little space for people to walk down, go straight to the end of that sidewalk, draw a vertical line, but this time I have to connect it because what is that vertical line going to right there? I'm gonna connect it sideways. So that actually goes, that's the depth of the sidewalk or the curb. So there is the depth of the curb. Erase in between. Now we have a nice, dangerous alleyway right here so somebody can go. Here's your street. Okay. You could keep going. Maybe I want a building right here. If I wanted it to attach, I would just draw, maybe this building is a little taller than this building, and I could just go up and over sideways and then attach the top of this down, and maybe I want it to end way back here. So that is an attached building and I just drew it up higher. It could be the same height, that's fine. But I like to show the different heights of everything. I'm going to show you a couple of more things and we'll be done. First of all, I can draw my horizon line in back here if I wanted to add mountains, if I wanted to add a tower, if I wanted to add trees, if I wanted to add the ocean, you know, maybe this is where you would do it. If I wanted to add corn and we're in the country, I could turn this into a barn and shops, sheds, whatever. First, we're going to build a staircase right on the side. So we built a front-facing staircase, and now we're going to build a side staircase. We always start with a floating door. So this is going to be on the side floating. So now we need to line up the bottom of our door with the vanishing point. There's our door. I'm making it floating. It's not touching the sidewalk. So that's orthogonal. I went to the vanishing point. Draw it vertical, vertical, and then the top of the door goes to the vanishing point. So when you're on the side, all the windows, all the doors, everything goes to the vanishing point. So the horizontals change on the sides of the buildings, but of course the verticals are always vertical. The horizontals change. So if your top of your building and bottom of your building tell you what your windows tops and bottoms do. If the top goes to the vanishing point and the bottom goes to the vanishing point, so will the top and the bottom of your windows and doors. If the tops are straight across horizontally, so are your windows and doors. So you have to look and see what's happening with the sides of the building or the front of the building. Okay, we're gonna build that ramp. Are you ready? I'm changing colors so you can see. Line your ruler up with the side of the door and go straight down to the bottom of the building. Vertical line. Again, vertical line. I think sideways staircases are much easier. Now we're just gonna go straight horizontal with the bottom line of our ramp. So I'm coming out onto the sidewalk horizontal. I lined it up with my horizontal sideways side lines here. And I'm gonna do that again, horizontal. So I'm vertical, horizontal on the sidewalk. Vertical, horizontal on the sidewalk. I'm hoping you can see that this is going to be orthogonal. Kind of wants to just do that on its own, so line it up with your vanishing point, connect it. Now we're going to build that ramp. So I'm going to take the bottom of my door, connect it with this first point with my ruler, connect it. And I'm going to connect these two. Second point on the sidewalk to the bottom of the other side of the door. I think this one's easier because when you climb up that ramp, it's vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal. So here we go. I'm gonna go vertical at this first point on your ramp. I'm just gonna go vertical straight up, just a little bit, and then I'm gonna connect it to my ramp horizontally. So line it up with something horizontal, go straight, stop at the ramp. Then I'm doing the same thing. Where I left off, you're gonna go up vertical, go horizontal until it hits the ramp, horizontal. So I went vertical, horizontal to the ramp. Vertical, horizontal to the ramp. I'm only gonna do 2 steps here. Just as we did the other staircase over here, we're gonna take each point of that zigzag, each point, the outside point and the inside point where it touches the ramp, and we have to go past the other ramp. This time, we're gonna go to the vanishing point with each point. So I am going to just go past the ramp, but I lined my ruler up with the vanishing point. Now I go to the inside point. Line your ruler up, go just past the ramp. Line your ruler up with the vanishing point, go just past the ramp. Line your ruler up with the vanishing point, go just past the ramp. Now your job is pretty much done for you. You're just gonna go vertical to this first line, horizontal to the ramp where it meets that second line. Vertical, horizontal, and there's your staircase. Adding windows, doors, those are gonna be all the things. Remember that if you're adding a door on the front of the buildings, you're gonna stay whatever the roof and the bottom of the building's doing. So this is just a perfect rectangle. If you're adding windows, doors, or whatever on the sides of the buildings, you have to go with whatever the sides of or the top and the bottom of the building's doing. So I'm adding a window there, but it's gotta be orthogonal, okay? If you add street lights, I will require you to do things like trash cans, details. Of course, you could build this out of a rectangle box, but I just want to show you that it's all in the details when you add things. That's what's going to make yours personal. You can also, don't forget street lamps. If you have street signs or something, they could go in front of other things. So I'm just going to show you. Maybe I have a street light coming here. But then it's going to, actually it could be a sign. Let's turn this into a street sign. So I'm adding the top and the bottom as a, so there's my street sign. If I wanted one on this corner, I would line up with the top of this one because they're going to be the same height. And here's where the top of that one's going to go. If you see it. And maybe I could turn them into street lamps. Maybe this is where you're drawing your cone. Okay. I could write whatever on it. You need to turn this in, take a picture of it, and this is worth 30 points. So this is your practice. I will put the requirements for your final on to Google Classroom so that you can see what the requirements are. I know you need to pick a city in 1-point perspective. I want you to add little details. Some people pick Venice, some people pick a boardwalk or a beach with buildings and little huts. Some people pick farm scenes. Egyptian scenes, downtown Cleveland, Olmsted Falls, whatever you decide to pick, but you're gonna have a staircase, you're gonna need to have a cross street, you are going to need to have 4 buildings or more. I think 2 of them have to have a roof, and then we need little details like garbage cans, maybe street signs, lamps, strung lights, so you can string lights across. That looks kind of pretty sometimes if you had a building back here and then you strung lights across. You can do something like that, you know, string lights from building to building. It's just kind of fun adding the little details. I've had people do Disney World. I've had people do, you just decide, and then you have to print off your piece that you are kind of getting references from. You can make up your own city, but you probably want to get some references too. Okay? I will have examples, anything you need on there, but please let me know if you need any help with this. I would love to help you. Good luck.